What is up, everybody? Today I have a very special video for you all. We're going to be doing a tier list of the works of this man right here, the greatest anime director of all time, my hero, Masaaki Yuasa. Now I know what you're thinking, Willie. You've already done way too many tier lists. This is basically just a tier list channel at this point. And it's cheap, easy content. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you have an obsession with lists? And those are all fair points. But you guys, when I found this tier list, I just literally looked up Yuasa tier list because I was curious if it existed, and if it didn't, I was gonna make it. But I found this and I was like, I have to do this. I have to do this. So look, you guys don't understand how much Yuasa means to me. His works have taken me to places I never knew I could go. And right now we are listening to some music from his work. All of his shows and movies have beautiful soundtracks as well. This is from Tatami Galaxy. We'll get into that. But yes, we are doing the Yuasa tier list. I have so much passion for this man's work. I'm such a big fan. But yeah, this video could be longer than the Pokemon videos. I don't know, but just let me have this. Let me do another tier list on the channel, alright? So, a few things about this list that I found. This is a really good, well put together list. There's just a few things I want to point out. One, I will not be ranking Inu-Oh, mainly because that movie is not out yet. It literally says right here, you can see 2021. So I guess whoever made this list really just wanted it to be, like, it to have some longevity, to survive into the future, to be ahead of the game. So I respect that. When Inu-Oh comes out, maybe I can come back to this exact list and rank it. And I'm patiently awaiting it, but we're not getting it until 2021, so it was kind of weird for me to see it on the list. Genius Party. Since this is a Yuasa tier list, I will not be ranking Genius Party according to the overall anthology. I will just be ranking Yuasa's contribution to it, which is roughly a 20-minute short film, as was all of the films on there. It's a collection of, like, I think 6 or 7 different short films, all in different styles. Each one is about 20 minutes long, I believe. And yeah, it's made by a lot of heavy hitters. Most notably, they have Watanabe, the guy who did Cowboy Bebop. Everyone knows him. He's on there. And Yuasa's on there as well. This is one of Yuasa's earlier works, in terms of, like, actually being directed by him. Obviously, he was animating long before Genius Party came out. But this is one of his earlier works, and I'm just going to be ranking according to his short film, not the others. All of the other ones are great, don't get me wrong. At Genius Party, spoiler alert, it's amazing. There's so many great minds on there, and it's beautiful. There's really nothing like it in anime. Genius Party is amazing, but I'm just going to be ranking according to Yuasa's short film, which is called Happy Machine, which is about this adolescent who ventures out into the world and meets some aliens. It's very abstract. It's one of Yuasa's most esoteric works, in my opinion, and we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Next up, I want to point out the inclusion of the Shin-chan series, or it looks like it says Shin-Men, which is like a spin-off or like a part of the Shin-chan universe. Yuasa has had a pretty hefty involvement in the Shin-chan franchise over the years, for a really long time, actually. I'm not sure what this is supposed to represent. I don't know if this represents everything. I believe he's directed some episodes here and there prior to Super Shiro, and then when Super Shiro started airing in 2019, I believe. Like, that was the first actual series within the franchise that he's directed. I'm not going to rank this just because I'm not sure what it's actually supposed to represent. If it's just supposed to represent Super Shiro, or if it's supposed to represent all of his contributions to the franchise. I have been keeping up with Super Shiro. I enjoy it. I think it's a fun little short. But I don't feel comfortable ranking it, because it's totally different than everything else Yuasa's done. It doesn't really fit, like, into this list, and that aside, it's still airing. It's not complete, so I don't want to rank something that's not complete. So yeah, that's my thing. I don't give a rating to anything that's not complete, so I will not be including this or Inu-Oh on the list. Everything else, though, is fair game, and I think this pretty much covers everything he's directed. Oh, one more thing. Cat Soup is actually not directed by Yuasa. When you look at the credits for Cat Soup, this little OVA right here, Yuasa is not listed as the director, but I like that it was included on this list. This person who made this list is very smart. I consider Cat Soup to be a Yuasa film, because when you look at the credits, even though Yuasa is not listed as the director, he basically did all the work. He did the script, he did the screenplay, he did the animation directing. It seems like he had a very prominent role in the animation of it. And yeah, this is another early Yuasa work, so I'm glad that it was included on here. It seems like a lot of people don't really pay attention to Cat Soup. It seems like it gets overlooked a lot, so I'm glad it was included. Alright, I think I have everything out of the way now. Oh, also, this list doesn't include the Tatami Galaxy specials, which I'm glad it doesn't, because I don't really know how to rank them. Like, they're a totally different thing. So I'm glad it just has the Tatami Galaxy and The Night is Short, or at least that's how I'm going to interpret it. I'm not taking the Tatami Galaxy specials into consideration when ranking the Tatami Galaxy. Just keep that in mind. It's not a major thing, but it's not included in this list. Alright, with all of that preliminary stuff out of the way, you can tell I'm so excited. Oh, I'm such a fucking nerd. Alright, let's jump right in. I'm going to start with the first thing I ever watched from Yuasa. And I think it's his most slept on project, his most underrated project, and that is Kemonozume. I am going to place Kemonozume in the S tier. I watched Kemonozume back in 2014, I believe, when I was binging anime, when I was out of school for a long time due to my area's water supply being poisoned, and it really stood out to me at that time as one of the best anime series I have ever watched. This is so gripping. It's like a super dark Romeo and Juliet story. It's just got this dark, edgy energy to it, but also this like heavy romantic plot, and it just brings forth so many emotions, and it's so different. That was the thing. It was so different than anything I had ever seen prior to this point. And the soundtrack, the soundtrack is so good. If I go long enough, we might hear some songs from Kemonozume. I think that's pretty late in the video, but hey, we might get there. I might rant long enough to hear some Kemonozume music. It's very possible. Kemonozume, still to this day, one of my favorite soundtracks of all of anime. I believe it was actually composed by Watanabe. I might be wrong about that, but I think it was composed by the director of Cowboy Bebop. So that explains it. Let me fact check that. Let me just fact check that real quick. I want to make sure I'm not talking out of my ass. Does it say who did the shit? Who did the soundtrack? I'll be damned. Do I gotta go on Mal or some shit? Do you have the character? Yeah, let's get the staff. Who did the soundtrack? Oh, he was the sound director, but I could have sworn Watanabe was involved in this in some way. Huh, who did the soundtrack? Kemonozume soundtrack. Who did that shit? I'm just trying to figure out who made that. Oh, it was composed by Kiwoka. Alright, I was way off. I was way off. I thought Watanabe was involved in this. Maybe I'm thinking of another series. What has this guy done? What has this guy done? Dude, I'm fucking retarded. I was just talking out of my ass with that one. What was Watanabe involved in? He was involved with something Yuasa did. I thought he did soundtrack. Oh, maybe it was Mind Game that I'm thinking of. Yeah, it's probably Mind Game. It's definitely Mind Game I was thinking of. Yep, definitely Mind Game. He did the music for Mind Game. Disregard everything I said, except the Kemonozume soundtrack is still incredible nonetheless. Love that soundtrack. I mean, there's nothing I can really say aside. This is amazing. It is a 10 out of 10. It's so slept on. Let me just pull up the AniList. I mean, this is depressing. Average score 69. Look at these distributions. What the fuck is this curve? How many people have watched this? 2,000. 2,000 people have watched this. Look, compare that to Devilman Crybaby. 43,000 have watched this. If you like Devilman Crybaby, if you are one of the 43,000 people who watched Devilman Crybaby, if you enjoyed it, you will love Kemonozume. I promise you, you will enjoy Kemonozume. Please watch it. It's criminally underrated. So that was the first thing I ever watched from Yuasa. I didn't watch anything else from Yuasa. I kind of fell out of love with anime for a little bit, like late high school, early college. But then I got back into it, and then I finally watched another Yuasa project without even knowing it was directed by Yuasa. In the fall of 2019, I watched Ping Pong the Animation. And I'm going to order these within the tier, by the way. To make a long story short, Ping Pong the Animation is my favorite anime of all time. I think it's just the best. Like, it's just the best thing ever made. Like, it's just that good. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Ping Pong, it just blew my fucking mind. It came to me at just the perfect time in my life, I think, for me to get it. And for just everything to resonate with me. Again, this is an incredible soundtrack. Right up there with Kemonozume for my favorite soundtracks. Kemonozume, it's so hard to pick a favorite soundtrack from a Yuasa project, but I think these two are my favorites in terms of soundtrack. Ping Pong and Kemonozume, I think, really do have the best soundtracks. And I mean, there's just nothing I can really say other than Ping Pong is perfect. It is perfect. It is perfect. It is a literal ideal 10 out of 10 greatest anime ever. And it, like, that was the second Yuasa thing I ever watched. And I pretty early on, I remember watching it, and I'm pretty early on, like the first or second episode, I was like, wait a minute, this kind of reminds me of that Kemonozume show I watched a long time ago. And then I did the research, and I was like, oh, this is directed by fucking Yuasa, that guy who did Kemonozume. I said, huh, this guy's pretty good. I guess I'll watch some more shit that he did. I guess I'll watch some more of his stuff. And Tatami Galaxy had been on my watch list for a long time. A friend recommended it to me in college, and I deeply, deeply, deeply regret delaying watching it. I had it on my watch list for years, and I procrastinated for so long. Oh wait, this is Kemonozume. Kemonozume's not that far into the video. It was the second one. Alright, you guys are hearing the amazing soundtrack of Kemonozume. I knew this was from Kemonozume or Mind Game. I get the two soundtracks confused, apparently. But after I watched Ping Pong, and I talked about it on Discord, Tatami Galaxy was recommended to me yet again by Umbi. Even though she had never watched it, she was like, hey, this is by the same guy, and it's been recommended to me. And I was like, hey, I got you. It's been on my list for a minute, too. Tatami Galaxy. Whew, you guys heard the soundtrack. You heard just a sample of the soundtrack prior to what you're hearing now. Tatami Galaxy is a hell of a ride. I'm going to put it in A. Now, the Tatami Galaxy, it has a cult following. It is definitely one of Yuasa's more popular works. There's kind of a divide in Yuasa's work, and Tatami Galaxy kind of marks the beginning of that divide. It came out in, I want to say 2009. Is that correct? Let me make sure that's correct. I've been wrong. So 2010. I was close. 2010. I was close. I've been wrong about a lot of things today, but it came out in 2010, and that kind of marked a transition in Yuasa's style. At least I think so. It became like less dark, I guess you could say. But then then you get Devilman Crybaby many years later, but it still kind of had a more of a I don't know, just a more cheerful, sort of colorful theme. Not to say that there's not a lot of dark stuff in the Tatami Galaxy. There's definitely a lot of deep themes that are dealt with. But I think I can see why it developed a cult following. It kind of made Yuasa a little more accessible for it was probably his most accessible work when it came out, but it was still presenting those deep themes, and it deals with time. And anime fans love their time loops. They love their time manipulation. This came out before Steins Gate. Just want to point that out. And it's very deserving of the cult following. Again, incredible soundtrack, great characters, one of the best endings in all of anime. Incredible ending, one of the most satisfying endings I've ever seen in anything. That's another thing about Yuasa. That man knows how to direct an ending. Man, all of his shows have great endings, like uniquely good endings. So Tatami Galaxy, I'm gonna give it an A. It didn't immediately grip me like Ping Pong did. But that's like the only reason I don't give it like a straight like S10. But still, one of my favorite anime of all time. Definitely in my top 10. Definitely in my top 10 of all time. Tatami Galaxy, incredible. But before I watched the Tatami Galaxy, I was actually a little put off by it because I couldn't read the subtitles. I was a little put off by it because after I watched Ping Pong and I did my research, and Umbi told me to watch Tatami Galaxy, and I was like, okay, I'm either gonna watch Tatami Galaxy for my next one or Devilman Crybaby. And I started with Tatami Galaxy since it had been on my list longer. And then I watched a little bit of the first episode, and I was like, damn, this man is spitting! I can't read these subtitles. They're too quick. And I'm a fast reader. But I eventually got through it. But I was looking for something I could just sit back and watch, And I was like, alright, I like the darkness of Kemonozume, and Devilman Crybaby seems very similar to that. So I watched Devilman Crybaby after Ping Pong, both like in between Ping Pong and Tatami Galaxy. And Devilman Crybaby, I actually don't know where I'm gonna rank that. I actually did not think this one through. Give me a second. I'm gonna put it in. Fuck, where am I gonna put this shit? I'm gonna put it in B. By the way, let me just say this straight up. If you look on my Annie list, I have given everything on this list at least an 8 out of 10. The lowest thing I have ever given a Yuasa project is an 8 out of 10. So whatever I put in D, just know that's an 8 out of 10. So like this is a very, very fucked up curve we've got going on here. Basically, think of D as like 8, C is like 8.5, B is 9, A is 9.5, S is 10. Kind of think of it like that. Like, you think of D, you're thinking like 6 out of 10. No. Like, this is curved for Yuasa, so it's a very broken curve. You know what I'm saying? It's a very broken curve because we're dealing with a genius. But I'm going to put Devilman Crybaby in B. Yeah, it's good. It's, very violent, very gory, very dark, very edgy. And Yuasa does a great job of just encapsulating all of that into one masterpiece. Again, really cool ending. Yuasa has just a real gift for directing endings, it seems. And there's a lot of deep philosophical stuff to this. The reason I don't quite put it in A is because I feel like it's at times it almost feels like it's relying on the violence and the darkness, just for shock value. Kemonozume didn't really strike me like that, and neither did any of his other earlier work. Devilman Crybaby, maybe just because it was a Netflix special, it felt like it had to present more. And I feel like sometimes it kind of shies away from some more philosophical stuff at times where it could put it forward a little more. But I mean, these are all very minor critiques. Overall, it's still one of the best fucking shows ever made. Like, it's probably in my top 15, but still, I think I've got to put it in B, just so we don't put everything. I mean, look, if this was a list of all anime, all of these would be in A and S. Like, if this was just all anime, it'd be all be A and S. But for this list, we'll put it in B. And I think that is fair. Alright. What do I want to do next? I guess... Let's see, I've got one in every tier. Let's do a C or D. I'll go ahead and do Lou Over the Wall. And I'm going to give Lou Over the Wall a C. Now, Lou Over the Wall, again, a very enjoyable movie. Excuse me. A very enjoyable movie. Highly recommend it. But if you haven't watched Kemonozume, please watch Kemonozume before you watch Lou Over the Wall. Lou Over the Wall is basically like a family-friendly Kemonozume to me. It's got this Romeo and Juliet story of like a guy falling in love with a being who's from another species, and everyone in his village hates the species, and he's supposed to hate the species too, and he meets the girl, and it turns out her people aren't evil, and it's got this whole musical aspect to it. So if you don't like musical stuff, you might not really fuck with Lou Over the Wall. But the music's very good. And it takes place in a coastal town, so you know it's got like a very comfy aesthetic as well. But it's like it took the plot for Kemonozume, got rid of everything that made it edgy, and then condensed it into a family-friendly movie. That being said, it's still very good. It's like, because, I mean, it's just a good plot, but it is kind of a stripped-down Kemonozume, and that's why I say if you want to watch a movie, if you want to watch something like that, just watch the series, watch Kemonozume. But I do recommend Lou Over the Wall if like coastal town, village, whatever is your aesthetic, because I know I like that, and a lot of Yuasa stuff takes place like in coastal areas, it seems, or not, maybe not a lot, but it's kind of just Izukin, Lou Over the Wall, and Ride Your Wave, but that's still kind of and Mind Game, kinda. I mean, Mind Game's its own thing. We'll get into that. Oh yeah, this song. I love this song. Alright. What's next? What's next on the list? That's a Lou Over the Wall. We got something in C. Let's go with... Which one do I want to do next? Should I just go down the line? Should I? Yeah, let's do... Which end should I start at? We're gonna start at this end with Ride Your Wave. Ride Your Wave gets a B. This movie, man. Oh man. Probably the hardest anime's ever made me cry. I was sobbing when I watched this movie. Yuasa's a motherfucker for this one, man. He's a sick fuck for this one. Oh, this is romance in its purest form. This is incredible, man. Takes place in a coastal town. Fuck. It deals with, the way I put it is, it portrays the absolute hell of losing someone and just not being able to move on from it, like losing a loved one and just not knowing how to grieve. It's incredible. Let me tell you, if you have watched A Place Further Than the Universe and you like that, you will like Ride Your Wave, I think. Ride Your Wave isn't as slice of lifey. It doesn't have all the cute girls. You know, it's not as it doesn't have the cute high school girls. But it does deal with that whole thing about like not knowing how to cope with the death of a loved one, and like growing to as a result of that. I will say Ride Your Wave and A Place Further Than the Universe. Those are like the two things in anime that have made me cry the hardest. I don't know which one takes the cake, but they're very similar in why they made me cry. And Ride Your Wave, it's just such a great movie, such a great soundtrack. I put it in B because it is a little cheesy at times, alright? It's a little bit cheesy. If you don't like a little bit of cheese, you might get a little fed up with Ride Your Wave at times. But I still think it's a great movie, and I think you should all watch it. Alright, moving on to Mind Game. This is as much as I fucking love Ride Your Wave, Mind Game is without a doubt Yuasa's best movie. Hands down, this is the end-all be-all for Yuasa films. Mind Game was like his big break. It was his debut film as a director. And holy shit, did he knock it out of the park. How long have I been going? Do I need to speed this up? We can go 26. Alright, that's good. That's good. I'm on good pace. Alright, so Mind Game and Kimonozume are effectively tied for me. Like, these are both 10s. Alright, so like Ping Pong is number 1, hands down, best anime of all time. Mind Game and Kimonozume could go either way. I'm going to give slight preference to Kimonozume right now. But these are both like tied 10s for me. Mind Game and Kimonozume, two of Yuasa's earlier works, but just perfection. Mind Game, as we saw, Watanabe was the music director for Mind Game, not Kimonozume, and it shows because Watanabe knocked it out of the park with the soundtrack on Mind Game. The animation is weird, as is the case for a lot of Yuasa stuff. Kimonozume's animation, very weird. Ping Pong's kind of weird. Tatami Galaxy, even that's kind of weird, you know? A lot of Kaiba, very weird. A lot of weird animation, but if you embrace it, you're gonna love it. The best way I could sum up Mind Game is it's like 2001: A Space Odyssey in anime form. And it's got a lot of like edgy shit, a lot of dark shit. It's definitely an early Yuasa film, and it's also got some very crude humor in the beginning, for sure. But it's just so raw. It's raw in every way, and it's some of that rawness may be abrasive and kind of off-putting to some, but it's also so raw in just its message and the emotion, and there's just so many beautiful scenes in this. Like despite the weirdness, quote unquote, of the animation, there are some beautiful scenes in this. I mean, this is a gripping, thrilling movie. Seriously. Highly recommend. One of my favorite anime movies of all time. Probably my second favorite anime movie of all time. Yeah, definitely number 2, right behind Angel's Egg. But that's a separate video. Plus, Angel's Egg technically is an OVA anyway, right? But whatever. Alright. So that's going to round out the S tier. Spoiler alert, this is my S tier. Ping Pong, Kimonozume, Mind Game. So we have Tatami Galaxy in A. We're doing Night is Short now. Night is Short I'm going to put in B, but it's like a high B. It's very high B. The Night is Short Walk On Girl. It's like a spiritual successor to Tatami Galaxy. It came out in 2017, 7 years after the release of the Tatami Galaxy. So it's got like even better animation, brighter colors, just more fluid, really great stuff. You don't need to have watched the Tatami Galaxy to appreciate this movie. You could watch it without seeing the Tatami Galaxy. It's not a strict sequel, but it is a spiritual successor, and there's a lot of references to the Tatami Galaxy in it, and you'll just genuinely, I think, be immersed in it more if you watch the Tatami Galaxy first. But nevertheless, This movie's great. I love this movie. There's a lot of Tatami Galaxy fans who think that this movie is significantly worse than the Tatami Galaxy. I don't know if that's the prevailing opinion, but I have seen a lot of people feel that way. And I don't agree with that at all. I do think that the Tatami Galaxy is better just because it's able to explore the themes, more in depth because it's a series rather than a movie. And you do need the 11 or 12 episodes or however long it is for some of the themes. Like, The Night is Short, it deals with time, but it doesn't go as crazy with the time manipulation stuff as Tatami Galaxy does. But just like Tatami Galaxy, it has an incredible message, a great, satisfying ending, and a beautiful soundtrack. It's kind of just like Tatami Galaxy light, I guess, but it is in some ways better. Like, the animation's better, I think. And there's some hilarious moments in this movie, actually. Despite some of, like, the really heavy themes it deals with about, like, loneliness and isolation, there's actually some very funny moments in this. So although I don't think it's significantly worse than the Tatami Galaxy, I will rank it slightly lower on the tier list, just because, it's hard to follow up a series like Tatami Galaxy with a movie. Expectations are going to be very high, and you're never really going to be able to recreate the first time experience of being introduced to these sort of characters and the world of the Tatami Galaxy. There's also some pacing issues that I don't think were present in Tatami Galaxy. Like, the movie kind of drags its feet at times with some of the musical scenes. But I understand that those do play a role in the plot. Those are, like, they're not just filler, obviously, but at times I was kind of like, can we hurry this up a little bit, But still, an amazing movie. One of the best out there. Highly recommend. Okay, Cat Soup. Whew! This one's a doozy. I gotta give Cat Soup an A. I love this shit, man. Now, I could totally see why someone might not like enjoy this. It's like, this isn't something you just sit down and like have on in the background, It's only like 30 minutes long if I remember correctly. But damn, do they put a lot into those 30 minutes. There's almost no dialogue, actually. There's very little dialogue. And it's very much like layers upon layers upon layers. You can just let your mind roam for hours trying to interpret this thing. And I think it is very dark. A lot of, like, just really, like, depressing shit, frankly. And a lot of, like, crazy fucked up shock value stuff. It's very much a tribute to the author of the manga, the original Cat Soup manga, because this was released after she committed suicide, and it was basically like a tribute to, like, her legacy and her vision of Cat Soup, from what I understand. And Yuasa was the perfect man for the job, because he just went crazy with this. I don't want to impose my interpretation upon anyone, so I won't say too much more about this, but it's a wild ride. It's one of those things that you just gotta sit down and just focus on and just have an open mind, I guess. Yeah. I put it above Tatami Galaxy. I think it's that crazy. Like, I give Cat Soup a high A. So I'm not doing the Shinchan universe. So now we have Kick Art. Alright, Kick Art is my least favorite thing Yuasa has done. This is a very, very short film. I think it's like 12 minutes in total. So you can watch this right now. You could pause this video and go watch Kick Art. Now, that's not to, I'm not saying it's bad because of the length, but there's just not a lot you can do in 12 minutes, but for what it does in 12 minutes, it's very good. It is very good for what it accomplishes. Like, it hits you with a twist. Like, like I was like, this hurt. Like it kind of hurt me. I was like, like that twist that it hits you with. I was like, damn, how did you get me so invested in this story in 12 minutes? But like that twist is kind of all it has going for it, and there's no rewatch value to it, if I'm being honest. Unlike a lot of these shows where you could go and pick up a lot, like the only thing you could really pick up with Kick Heart is the twist if you missed it in the first one, you know. But you know, it's a fun little thing. Definitely worth watching once at least. You know, it's like 12 minutes. What? You don't have 12 minutes? Yeah, I'd recommend watching it, but it's not like super crazy. You know, it's not like groundbreaking or anything. The animation is actually very nice in my opinion. I know a lot of people are probably put off by the animation, but I actually really like it. And Yuasa brought in Oshiri, the director of Angel's Egg and Ghost in the Shell, as a consultant for this project, if I remember correctly. So, you know, he had his hand in it in some capacities. So, if you like Ghost in the Shell or Angel's Egg, give Kick Heart a shot. Not saying it's on the level of those movies, you know. It's definitely not on the level of those movies, but it's a nice little short film. You know, it's cute. And yeah, it's pretty impressive for its runtime, but still, you know, definitely the most forgettable thing Yuasa's ever done, aside from maybe like the Super Shiro stuff, you know. All right, now we're moving on to Happy Machine, which is Yuasa's film on Genius Party. I'm going to give this an A. This is one of Yuasa's most esoteric works, and that's fucking saying something. Very much, it's one of those things that like has a light-hearted appearance. It seems very innocent, but I think has a very dark message underlying it. And to me, I think there's a lot to be said about abuse in it, but that's just my interpretation. I have not been able to find anything in terms of like interpretive work on this. Like seriously, like I see Genius Party get thrown around. Like I see people recommend, like it's one of those things that like weird people watch, you know? But I haven't been able to find like any videos. Like you can find tons of videos on Mind Game, tons of videos on Tatami Galaxy, even videos on Cat Soup. You can even find videos on Kemonozume. I can't find any videos specifically on Happy Machine. Like it's like I don't know if no one's watching it. I just don't know if no one watches Genius Party, or if it's just like so obscure and esoteric that like no one even is willing to venture out and make a video on it. So maybe I'll make a video on it someday. I don't know. I might have to watch it a few more times, but yeah, it's something. To me, it's like it's what's like the most similar thing I could compare it. It's kind of like Cat Soup. Yeah, it's like Cat Soup because there's basically no dialogue. And yeah, it's very similar to Cat Soup, but I think it has a slightly different message than Cat Soup, and I think it's less overtly dark than Cat Soup. I think the darkness is it's there, but it's more hidden than it is in Cat Soup. Cat Soup's a little more open with it. Happy Machine doesn't have that much, like, in terms of like the disparity or the incongruence between like the message and your expectations given the style of animation, I guess. It's not that overtly apparent. Like he doesn't beat you over the head with it, but it's definitely there, I think. I don't know, it's an anomaly, but that is why I'm giving it an A, because it's an anomaly. It's an enigmatic short film, as are all of the films on Genius Party, to be frank with you. Like, Genius Party's just crazy. Watch it. Alright, we're getting toward the end. We only have 2 left, because I'm not doing Iruo, because it's literally not possible for me to watch it, and I'm not doing Shin-Chan, because I don't know how to rate that. Even though I have been watching Super Shiro, as I explained, I don't really know how to rate that, you know. But alright, so we're gonna do Kaiba. Kaiba is going to get a fucking B, I guess. I guess we'll give it a B, right? yeah, I'll give it a B. It's on par with Night is Short for me. It's like a high B. Kaiba is one of those shows that I think you either love it or hate it. I feel like personally I love it, and I also love the ending. I think it's a Yuasa certified ending, but I have a friend who thinks the ending is like the worst part of the whole series. He thinks the ending ruins Kaiba. But yeah, Kaiba deals with a lot of themes like what would I compare it to? Kind of similar to Kimonozume, I guess. It kind of has a bit of a Romeo Juliet sort of love plot. I don't want to spoil anything. God, I might have just spoiled something with that. But it also deals with like loss of memory and like a lot of themes of identity, kind of like Kimonozume has, and Mind Game also kind of has some of that in there. Lots of themes of identity. And like basically you're able to like separate your soul from your mind from your body in this universe, and there's a lot of like complications that arise from that, and its implications for like love and interpersonal relationships, and whether or not a society like this is even worth living in, whether or not you have a duty to rebel against something that reduces humans to like mechanical parts. That's a vast oversimplification of some of the themes, but it's really interesting. It kind of takes a little bit to get going, I feel like you're immediately launched into action, but it's kind of like hard to get invested in at the very beginning. But once it picks up, like once you get to know the characters a little better, it'll have you on the edge of your seat for sure. So Kaiba, it's some big brain shit. I'm gonna give it a high B. And then we have Keep Your Hands Off Izuken. This is without a doubt the anime of 2020. Keep Your Hands Off Izuken is a masterpiece. This may be a controversial take, but I think Keep Your Hands Off Izuken is a high A, and I'm going to put it above everything else in the A tier, including the Tatami Galaxy, including Katsup. I fucking love Keep Your Hands Off Izuken. This, like, I feel blessed that I was able to, like, watch this as it came out. Like, I think, imagine being alive when Revolutionary Girl Utena was airing, when Serial Experiments Elaine was airing. I consider this on the same level of that, watching this live, coming out week after week, each episode. This is such a beautiful show. This really just radiates love of life. That's really what it is. It resonates with me so much. Just anyone who has any sort of creative talent or passion for what they do, you are going to relate to something about this show. This is the show for every creative, for every artistic person out there. You have to watch this. It's like the introspective version of Ed, Edd n Eddy. It's like you got these three characters that are vastly different, come from totally different backgrounds, have totally different interests and motivations, but they're still united in this passion for this project, and overcoming all sorts of obstacles and adversities for the sake of their passion of making anime. And so you could argue that Kanamori doesn't have the passion for the anime. A lot of people probably view her as just being in it for the money, but my theory, or not even my theory, this is the fact. She does have passion. It just manifests itself differently. I'm not trying to do an Izuken analysis right now. Kanamori best girl, that's all I'm saying. Straight up, son. But yeah, man, Izuken, I feel like this shit's so good! Wait, what the fuck is this? Wait, what the fuck did I buy? See your imp? Wait, I didn't buy shit. Hold up, did someone hack my Amazon? I'm gonna have to check that. I didn't buy shit from Amazon. I'm gonna have to do a little, I'm gonna have to look into that. What the fuck? My Amazon Whatever, man. Anyways, Izukin, great. Soundtrack is awesome. Oh, that opening theme. That opening theme. One of my favorite opening themes in all of anime. Easy breezy. Oh, dude, I love it. I love it. This shit is just a great experience. It's not really dark at all. Like, it's just love of life, passion, and just the ability of humans to just do crazy shit for what they're passionate about. It's if you watch this and you don't get excited about something that you're working on in life, I don't know what to tell you, man. Definitely watch Izukin, especially like maybe if you feel like you're in a rut. Izukin, I think, can get you out of that rut. So yeah, that is my Yuasa tier list. I don't think there's anything we're missing. Vamping Kids, that's like not even a real thing. Like, no one fucking knows what this movie is, let's be real. Like, it's not even an official thing. Like, it's a pilot. So that's not going to be on the list. Mind Game, Kimonozume, Genius Party, Kaiba, Tatami Galaxy, Kid Car, Ping Pong. Adventure Time, he was director for one episode. Same thing with Space Dandy, artist for episode 16. Night is Sure, Lou Over the Wall, Devilman Crybaby, Raichu, Super Shiro, we talked about that. Izukin, Japan Sinks is not out yet. Inuo's not out yet. And then the other, Catsoup's really the only thing that I think he was involved in meaningfully enough to count that on the list. My Neighbors the Yamadas, a very good movie, by the way. He did the animation for that. Definitely different from the shit he directed, but like, it's a Ghibli film and it's a good one. I'd recommend My Neighbors the Yamadas. I'd give it like, I mean, on this list it'd probably go in C, but you know, it's good. All right, that's the list. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Masaaki Yuasa, for being the fucking GOAT, for being a fucking genius. I hope I have sufficiently sucked your dick for this video. And yeah, stan Yuasa. Watch everything he's ever made. Definitely, like, watch the stuff in the S and the A tiers first, I would say. Yeah, what can I say, man? What else can I say? If you're not interested in Yuasa after this video, if my excitement is not infectious enough for you, I don't know what to say, man. Maybe, I mean, unless you just don't watch anime. If you refuse to watch anime, then, you know, that it is what it is. Like Ping Pong, by the way. But the way that I said, so basically Izukin, if you're creative or artistic, you need to watch Izukin. If you are competitive in any way, you have to watch Ping Pong. If you compete in anything, in any capacity, if you compete, watch Ping Pong. Now, motherfucker. Alright, that's it. We are currently listening to Mind Game soundtrack. This is what was actually done by Watanabe, not Kimonozume. This is great. Oh, we didn't make it to Ping Pong soundtrack. We didn't make it to Ping Pong. Is that the next song? It's literally the next song. Wow. Alright, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.